A World Press Conference organized by the Forum of Youth Leaders for Better Nigeria, in conjunction with National Secretariat, National Youth Council of Nigeria, NYCN, and civil society organizations as represented. Today being the 18th day of September 2023. All protocols duly observed. Good evening, gentlemen of the press, fellow comrades, and all patrons present. Paraphrasing an important quote attributed to a renowned social crusader, Edmund Burke, I dare to say, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Suffice it to say that silence in the face of evil or injustice is an indirect allusion and support. We received a report regarding an alleged sexual harassment allegedly meted out on some students of the University of Calabar, Unical, by the Dean of the institution's Faculty of Law, Professor Ndifon. We've been diligently following up with the investigations and fact findings. However, a few days ago, the media was saturated with the news of an audio conversation between the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Honorable Kennedy-Ohanenye Esquire, and one of the said victims of the alleged sexual harassment, the Unical student. According to media publications, the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, unquote, threatened female students not to speak up against sexual abuses, quote, closed. At a glance of such a published statement, any concerned citizen will wonder why a minister whose primary jurisdiction is to protect the interests of women should be the one threatening the victims of sexual harassment not to speak up. This kind of unwelcome feeling made us swing into prompt action of due diligence to the audio conversation between the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs and one of the alleged victims of the said sexual harassment. The below are our preliminary findings. Number one, the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Honorable Kennedy-Ohanenye Esquire, stepped into the case with the intention to protect the interests of her primary constituency, the women folk. She opted to take the matter up at the level of her ministry and ensure that those who are involved in sexual harassment of young girls and women in general are legally dealt with. Two, having listened to the complete recorded conversation, carefully and unbiasedly, we deciphered that the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs is highly interested in total justice and fair hearing ab initio. She assured one of the alleged victims, the student with whom she had a phone conversation, maximum protection as a mother and as the minister in charge of her affairs from any assailant and subsequent absolute restitution. She, however, made the student to understand that justice entails truthfulness and fairness. 3, the statement of the Honorable Minister, which was misconstrued as a threat to shut the mouth of the alleged victims, was spurred by her eagerness to ensure that the fight she's about to undertake on behalf of the alleged victims, who are under her primary jurisdiction, is devoid of any form of instigation, vendetta, and frame-up. Hence her statement, unquote, if your VC makes you to go and lie against somebody, I repeat, if your VC makes you to go and lie against somebody, you will go to jail, trust me. I want you to be very careful because your future is at stake. You can't join anybody and maltreat a fellow human being, and equally, nobody wants you to be maltreated. Quote closed. From the aforecited statement of the Honorable Minister, one could rationally deduce that she's only interested in ensuring that justice prevails and that anyone who is found guilty shall never escape the wrath of the law. In a bid to ensure that justice prevails, We, as we've gathered here, and all the groups involved, have decided to double our investigations and fact findings efforts. We are made to understand that the Honorable Minister of Women Affairs is currently in New York for the UN General Assembly, UNGA. On her arrival, we shall have an investigative meeting with the Honorable Minister, the VC of the Unical, and the alleged victims of the sexual harassment to get to the root of the matter and ensure that justice prevails. If the accused dean of the institution's law faculty is guilty, we shall ensure that he serves as a deterrent to other perpetrators of sexual harassment. If, however, he is unjustly accused, we shall ensure that all those involved in the plot are vehemently dealt with by the appropriate quarters and agencies. Compatriots, we appeal to mischief makers to stop heating up the polity, but join hands in building a better Nigeria of our dream. We shall keep updating the media of our findings in our bid to rid Nigeria of every form of harassment and intimidation in every facet of this nation. Gentlemen of the press, fellow comrades, and patriotic Nigerians, thank you so much for your time and your readiness to ensure that justice is entrenched in our society and Nigeria of our dream is achieved. Definitely, we can't come to the press and tell you our preliminary findings if we've not done due diligent findings. One, on the arrival of Minister, we are going to get her written permission, the written permission of VC of Unical to go to DSS headquarters and get an order to mandate MTN to give us the call of that day. Meanwhile, we are in possession of that recorded conversation. I think the media that reported that conversation actually made a cut from some places.
It's not complete.
It's not complete. If you listen to the complete record, you will find that at a point the girl was quivering and shivering until the minister, honorable minister, gave her the assurance that nobody on earth in this Nigeria will touch you if you tell me the truth. And then, at a point, she made a confession. Now, we wouldn't want it to be like it's a confession under duress. But truth be told, from what we listen, if it can only be under duress if she was invited one-on-one, probably in the presence of hefty security men. But it was a phone conversation. And then we wonder who leaked the phone conversation, if not a mischief something, that somebody took up the phone conversation that the Honorable Minister was just trying to still make investigation. We, on our own part, we've been on the tail of the matter. The dean, the said dean, was accused, was suspended ab initio on a case regarding sexual harassment, but it was not actually clarified that he committed it. He was suspended based on investigation going on. He was reinstituted. Now, in our fact finding, we are trying to ensure that is it a vendetta that somebody somewhere actually wants to use the first suspension to come up with some things and then lay allegation on the dean because he or she doesn't want the dean in the institution again? Or is the dean actually at fault and responsible for that act? If he is, like I said, we are still at the root of the matter, we are still on it. If we find him guilty, ladies and gentlemen, what we shall do to him, not just physically, we shall ensure that the letters in the Constitution to the latter must be carried out on him, the punitive measures. Because all of us gathered here will have sisters. Yes. All of us gathered here, we intend to have daughters. Some have already. So we cannot stand and watch our daughters, our sisters, be harassed sexually. So we are too sure that if he's found guilty. However, we have also found out that there are cases of vendetta. There are cases that somebody doesn't like you in an establishment, and because he or she knows one or two flaws around, the person wants to victimize you. So we are trying to ensure that aside the girl that received the phone call, that made some confessions, the other girls in question, we are on their matters too. And then when it comes to interrogation, believe me, DSS will do the due diligence. We also going to do the due diligence. They're going to face more than 10 panels. And then when somebody lies, the truth, lie cannot be consistent. There must be a flaw somewhere. And when flaws are found out, they are going to face the wrath of the law.
So we should avoid hasty conclusion. Why?
Exactly. That's what we said. In the second to the last paragraph, we appeal that people should stop hitting up the polity. Let's not conclude that somebody is guilty. Let's not conclude that the investigation is undergoing. We are still undergoing the investigation. And even the security agencies are still doing their investigations. So let's not conclude hastily until we all come up. We on our side will come up with our own fact findings. Security agencies will come up with their own fact findings. And then minister, I think she's doing her own too. We all come on board and know who is guilty and who is innocent. And whoever is guilty will face the wrath of the law.